Gaming has always had a difficult time blending the world we explore and how we explore them. The struggle is so common, the term ludonarrative dissonance was coined to describe when these elements are so out of sync that it pulls the user out of the experience a bit. Whether or not the lens you view the story through was considered important or not, however, it does affect how you view the story. And yet I feel a lot of developers don't really consider melding story and gameplay important in developing games. Most of the time, this is ignorable. For example, Infamous, where you have good and evil bars that make you look at story choices as a way to upgrade your guy and not a way to tell a story. But the story kind of sucks anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Other times, however, it can fundamentally ruin an experience or story trying to be told. And that's when you have a game like Life is Strange. A game that really resonated with me in some ways, in a lot of ways, on a really deep level, but that has one major misstep that I wanted to talk about and why it was important to me. Content warning coming in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Date rape, trauma, suicide, revenge porn, murder, and personal loss. And also spoiler warning for the entire game. Life is Strange is an adventure game where the main protagonist, boarding high school student Max Caulfield, finds out she has time-rewinding powers bestowed to her after witnessing her childhood friend Chloe get shot by a resident preppy creep Nathan. Max manages to rewind time, then avert the event by pulling a fire alarm, and the adventure quickly unfolds from there. She also begins to have visions of a massive storm coming that will soon destroy the game's location, Arcadia Bay. While this threat is always looming, the bulk of the story doesn't have as much to do with that as you expect. It instead uses all of that and the murder mystery as the backdrop of a coming-of-age tale of teenage girlhood, self-actualization, and rekindling friendship. The game was also pretty heavy. It has topics like childhood trauma, loss of a loved one, rape, specifically date rape, online misogyny, depressive episodes, and suicide. There is literally a trigger warning in this game, and it is deserved, and it's how the game handles one particular heavy story moment that we're here to discuss. See, at one point in the game, one of Max's friends, Kate, is drugged at a party by an unknown assailant, and a video is taken of her making out with a bunch of students while under the influence. She was date raped, and the game works hard to portray the issue from multiple angles given our modern day cultures and the age group Kate is in. Students make fun of her for it and say she wanted it, teachers can't find the one who did it and don't take it as seriously as they should, her conservative Catholic loved ones don't believe that she was drugged and they shun her for it, and the world goes on without her. Eventually, we get to a scene where a crowd gathers on a rainy day and we watch as Kate is standing on top of a building prepared to kill herself. Max uses her powers to get to the top of the building right before she jumps. However, when Max gets to Kate, she realizes her powers are taking a physical toll on her and won't work at the moment. If Max is to save Kate, she needs to do it without her powers. You try to talk her down in various ways, but none of it matters. You can rewind time, do different dialogue options. It doesn't matter what you do, Kate still jumps. She dies. And as sad as it was, I also kinda loved this moment. See, this was a game that, to me, was brave enough to show the magnitude of this type of decision and how powerless it can leave both the victims and the ones left to pick up the pieces. It let you experience the severity of these issues and the failure of society to help this person in real time, as the NPCs you took guidance from and looked up to failed someone you cared about. And most notably, it used gameplay to convey the hopelessness of suicide. The game's time-rewinding mechanics that worked so well everywhere else fail when you need them the most. And you get to feel the futility of addressing the issue after it's manifested, when it's too late, because the types of issues that lead to someone contemplating taking their own life can't always be neatly tied away in one conversation like the movies. It was gameplay and narrative in sync, communicating the issue in a way no other medium could. It was horrifying, but it was also brilliant. The resulting death haunted me and set the tone for the remainder of the game, as investigation of the date rape of Kate starts soon after, with Nathan tagged as the primary suspect. Alongside this, Chloe and Max perform their own investigation and search for Rachel, a student that went missing before the start of the game, and also someone we think was another victim of Nathan. Kate's death becomes the emotional center of the mystery, something that for Max and the player to avenge by nabbing the monster that caused it. And Chloe is also emotionally invested because her and Rachel were in a relationship, so this mystery also also rekindles Chloe and Max's friendship. Kate dying is kind of Max's in on the emotional attachment of the mystery, and Kate dying beforehand also sets the stake for the game as well. If they are willing to kill off Kate, death could be around any corner. The raised stakes and serious issues become the backdrop of these coming-of-age moments, making the times where Max and Chloe just get to hang out and use the awkward slang all the more satisfying. These are kids coming to terms with things many adults don't even confront, and it's the adult leadership that perpetuated it. This adventure escalates and escalates into a finale that has you jumping through time on the night of the school's big dance, which is also the night that the big storm is coming. At one point you go unconscious, and Max is tortured by past demons in a nightmare sequence. She's haunted by the ghost of Kate and her failure to save her. She battles manifestations of her insecurities. The sequence culminates into a beautiful segment where you walk through freeze frames of some of the heartwarming moments of your adventure with Chloe. You're reminded of what makes Max more than just a student, more than someone who failed Rachel or Kate. At the end of the game, you end up sacrificing Chloe to save the storm or letting the entire town die. It's your choice, but the game clearly doesn't intend for you to pick Chloe. Still though, you have to choose her, adding to the impact. You experience loss one more time to save the lives of others, to get Nathan arrested for killing Chloe, to save Kate. For me, if Kate didn't definitively die, a huge chunk of the emotional payoff of this game simply would not exist. And now it's time for me to drop the charade. As a few of you already know, Kate's death isn't definitive, and this angered me on a very personal level. Some context before I continue that thought. See, this game has a bit of side quests off the beaten path for the player to find on their own. Some of these can have hidden effects on major story points of the game. At the end of each major section, the game shows you all the side quests you can do, like a checklist. However, I always rapidly hit the skip button to get on with the story in these sections. Life is Strange gripped me in a way a lot of other games didn't, and I felt that focusing on numbers would ruin the experience. But the game had other plans. See, the reason that Kate died was not a conscious choice from the developers to add emotional weight to the story and themes dealing with the real-world issues. The reason Kate died is that I'm not good at exploring and I missed some side quests. What's supposed to happen is... well, let me play you the clip.
Max, seriously, don't come near me. I will jump.
Okay. I'm right here. Kate, please.
Oh, Max, I know you want to help me. I love that you stepped up to David, but it doesn't matter now. Nothing matters.
You matter, and not just to me.
I do want to believe that.
Kate, your life is still yours, and we can get through this together. Let me help. Like I helped by erasing all that crap people wrote on your room slate.
I'm glad to hear you worry about me. That makes me feel better.
Of course I worry. You're my friend, Kate.
I did feel better talking to you on the phone. I always feel like you really listen.
Kate, please trust me. Come stand by me, okay? I can help you now. I know I can. This morning I erased the web link to the video. It was written on the shower room mirror.
Are you serious? Thank you so much. The fact that you don't care about that video and would come up here to stop me means a lot.
I care about you because I believe you were drugged. We will find out who did this and make them pay.
You sound so persuasive, Max. If only...
Kate, I believe you. Will you believe me? Please, you don't have to do this.
Max, I'm in a nightmare and I can't wake up. Unless I put myself to sleep. Then everybody at Blackwell can post pics of my body. I'm already on the internet forever. No wonder they call it a web. Nothing can ever get out. Like my video. I wish I could go back in time and erase everything.
Kate, this is our chance to beat the bullies. That's the only way we can win against them.
Can we really, Max? I don't believe in miracles anymore either.
Now I do. You're part of the reason why. If you come down with me, I can tell you more.
You're such a good person, Max. Even if you're full of crap. But I'll come with you. You're my friend.
Forever. Can we hug on it?
No, Nobody cares about me. Nobody.
Kate, I saw that card from your father. You can count on him. He clearly loves you without question.
Dad does care, even though I hurt him. He's the only one I know who believes in me. I'm sorry. Sorry.
What are you talking about? You saved me from talking in class.
The conversation in this good ending is very transparent with which quests affected this conversation. It wasn't many of them. You may have your reasons for why this scene works, but I doubt any of them were the developer's intentions. See, on those ending stat screens, you don't just see all the things you can do, but also what percentage of players made what decision, and that includes Kate's death. Talking a trauma victim out of ending their life wasn't a story moment for emotional impact. It was the developers rewarding extra good players with story content and allowing you to flex and compare your stats to other players. Now, I want to stop right now and say that if you connected positively to this part of the game for any reason, I'm not trying to take that away from you. But to me, this is the worst way I've ever seen a game lock story content behind gameplay. Gamifying the story moment trivialized it, inadvertently showing suicide to be based solely on external factors and being unhappy, and not a complex internal struggle wrought with alienation and depression. It also placed the blame firmly on the friend for not doing enough to save a life, which is horrifying for hopefully obvious reasons of, wow, if I had done this, this person should have been alive logic. Finally, it impacted me personally. As a formerly suicidal sufferer of major clinical depression, I was forced to realize that the reason I failed to save a life was because I was engaging with the narrative and not achievement hunting. To me, Life is Strange and Kate's death represent a fundamental failure of the use of the medium, unlike anything I've ever seen, and a fundamental failure of understanding suicide and depression as a whole. As the title suggests, I had a better game by screwing up. The dark and traumatic story and the failure of Max to save Kate contextualized all the powerful moments with Chloe throughout the entire game for me. This, like most adventure games, should have been a story supported by its gameplay, but instead it was a story that was forced to bend to traditional gamer trappings. And the most disappointing thing is that in games, this approach is par for the course. It's time we think harder about how story melds with gameplay. Just because a particular gameplay element can be linked to story, it doesn't mean that it should be. And just because a story can be simplified to fit into a game system, it doesn't mean that it should be. Telling a serious story in any medium requires extra care, or the results can be catastrophic. Not everything should be approached like a video game, even if it's in a video game. Thanks for listening.